Hey y'all, it's your girl Coco, one half of the Couple Conversation, where we have conversations worth having. Tune in right now as y'all get all up in my business.
Okay, let's get right into it. We're gonna start with the childhood.
Okay.
So let's just give the people like a quick description of your upbringing. What did your household look like?
So I grew up in a household with my mom, my dad, and my two brothers. Of my two brothers, I am the oldest. My house was, I don't know what's normal, but I feel like my house was pretty normal. Like we had, we didn't have like everything growing up, but we never lacked anything. Like, my husband always joked with me about like, oh, you was privileged. But I didn't see it as like a privilege. And then, you know, when you hear other people's lives and stuff like that and the things that they were privileged to have, you're like, okay, maybe I wasn't so privileged, but I did have like a normal life. This is something that alarms some people having my own room. I had my own room. Me and my siblings, we were pretty close. My youngest brother, he came at a late time in my life, but you know, we were always pretty close. I never saw anything, you know, like weird happen in my household. Like I pretty much had good parents. Like my mama was on my neck, my daddy was on my brother's them neck. Like they always did enforce us to be ourselves and not to be followers. Like that was like the golden rule, I feel like, growing up. But outside of that, like I had a pretty normal life. I grew up with my siblings and my mom and my dad. I was privileged to have a two-parent household, I'll say that.
Okay. So I noticed you didn't mention your sister that's outside your household. And early in the year, you mentioned some feelings towards your daddy having a child outside of your household. Speak to a little bit of how that made you feel as a child.
And weird enough, I really didn't feel a way as a child because me and my sister were not close as kids. Like we didn't live in the same household. Like we didn't see each other. I remember my first memory of being able to see my sister in person was for my dad's. My dad had a birthday party and she came down. By this time, my sister was already. She was in a relationship with her now husband, and she had one kid. So that can kind of put you in a mindset of like how old she was by the time I actually even met her. I want to say she was probably like in her early 20s. So I met her for the first time in person when she was basically a grown-up. Shortly after that, I moved to Louisiana where she lived as well. And I feel like that's where the relationship really grew. But I feel like the reason I I wouldn't even say resent because it's no bad feelings about it. I just sometimes wish that I had a sister that was actually in the house with me. Just watching relationships of other people that have siblings that they grew up in the house with, just like I grew up in the house with my brothers. I feel like we have a different dynamic than I have with my sister. I feel like my sister is almost kind of like a distant, a really close cousin. You know, with how our relationship is. And I don't like to compare people to other people or relationships to other relationships, but our dynamic is not the same that I think it would have been if we would have grew up in this house together. I probably think that we probably would have had way more arguments. We would have been more transparent and more vulnerable with each other had we grew up in a household together. And I just feel like, and I know this is something that you can't really predict or you can't control for the most part, you know, who you have kids with, but it just shows the level of silent battles people will have to face when things don't go like they're supposed to go. And I say supposed to go because everybody might not have the same beliefs as me, but you know, having kids once you're married, all of your kids growing up in the same household, stuff like that, I feel like it just would have been a little bit different. I love my sister the same, but I just could tell that it would be different. It would just, I don't know what different is because like I say, I ain't experienced it myself, but I just feel like it's like a a void there. Especially with me being the oldest, like I always wanted a big sister. And this is what's weird about this situation too. Before I met my sister, I used to have imaginary friends since I was a kid, young kid. And I remember my imaginary friend was named Rocky. That's my sister's name. And I didn't even know, or I didn't have the mind to really know that was my sister's name. I don't know where that name came from. Must have been God. I don't know. I don't even know how I feel about imaginary friends. But I don't know. But as a kid, I had an imaginary friend. And her name was Rocky. And I found it so weird that that was on my sister's name. So it's like, I guess I feel a void too because I feel like I've always wanted that. Like I've always wanted a bigger sister. But yeah.
Okay, that kind of leads us into your teen years, and that makes me wonder if you had a sister, would you have fell into some of the peer pressures that you kind of talked about earlier in the year? I want you to tell us a time where you went against your better judgment and did something that, the societal peer pressures or your friends in school had you doing.
Well, what I will say, with not having a sister, I feel like it made me like want to create a lane of my own. I feel like if I would have had my sister in the household with me growing up, because I desired that so much, I feel like I would have like followed her, like wanted to do whatever she did. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like that wasn't my story, and I feel like a lot of the stuff that I did growing up, I think my thing was always not doing what other people did. Like I said, my mom and my daddy always talk, they like pushed in our head, like, you can't be a follower, you can't be a follower. You a leader, you a leader, you a leader. And so I always, did the opposite of what my friends did. But what I will say is this funny though, all of my friends, by the time I got to high school, had already had sex. High school, I hadn't had sex yet. Ninth grade, I hadn't had sex yet. But I really remember like me telling all my friends like about this one guy I was dating. And they was like, girl, you and, he dead now. He was, and they were like, you and said y'all did it. I was like, girl, yeah, it was so good. Like, just lying the whole time, trying to fit in because I felt like, dang, like, I ain't done nothing. Like, I ain't done all the stuff my friends done. So I do remember lying about actually sleeping with somebody before it had not even. I was still a virgin. I was saying, baby, I was getting down. I was giving them all the type of details. You would have thought I knew how to do it by the details I gave. But I had never done it before. Maybe another thing that I was peer pressured into doing was like skipping school. I remember my mom and my daddy went out of town one time. And this is by this time we was already in Louisiana. So I remember my dad and my mom, they used to go back and forth to Houston sometimes. And so this one particular time they went to Houston and we stayed at my sister's house. And so we were supposed to get on the bus from my sister's house, go to school. So I ended up not going to school, staying in my sister's house. And then I invited my boyfriend, my high school boyfriend, over to my sister's house, and we stayed there. By this time, I was doing it. We was doing it or whatever, and then we was like, all right, we about to go somewhere. Mind you, I had never rode a city bus before, so he was like, okay, we're gonna ride the city bus, that's how we're gonna get there. I'm like, okay. So I'm on the city bus, and I get a phone call from my mom, and she like, where you at, girl? Like, she just talking normal, and I'm like, girl, I'm on my way. It sounded like I was outside, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna say I'm on my way to gym, because the gym was, you had to walk outside to get to the gym for school. So I'm like, okay, I'm on my way to the gym, I'm about to go to the gym. She was like, oh, really? I was like, yeah. She was like, if you don't get your motherfucking ass back to that school. And I'm thinking, like, what? How they know? These people at the school saw that me and my boyfriend was absent and called my mama because they said that was suspicious. So the whole time my mama knew I wasn't even at the school. But yeah, so that was probably like one time that people, like, somebody peer pressured me into doing some stuff I ain't had no business doing.
That's funny. Okay, so we're gonna get a little risky because it's gonna be a little later on. And like, tell us about a time where you were fearful about some choices that you were making or things you were involved in.
Okay, I think I told this story before. T probably said I haven't, but I'm gonna tell it again. And I think I got another one. But one time, my now husband, me and Carrie, we wasn't even dating then. We were just friends at this point. But he is from Monroe, Louisiana. So he was in the he was a D-boy or whatever. And so he would go home to like get his pounds and stuff like that. So one time he was like, "You want to ride with me?" And I was like, "Okay, I'll ride." But rode with him. And on the way there, he was like, "Dang, the person that he usually get his stuff from wasn't gonna be able to give it to him." He was like, "I'm gonna call somebody else." So he ended up calling this guy I guess he grew up with. And the dude arranged it. He was like, "Yeah, you can come, we gonna go get it, this and that." So we ended up going to pick the dude up because we had to get him in order to get whatever he was getting. And on the way there, I heard the dude, he like picked up his phone and he was like, "Yeah, we on the way. Be ready," like that or whatever. You know, like letting him know he was on the way. But I remember when he picked up the phone and started talking, I looked back. And I don't know if y'all know, he was on the iPhone. So y'all know how the iPhone like go black when it go to your ear? Like when it was to his ear, like it was on the lock screen. Like you could see the lock screen, like with it on his ear. And I'm like, I thought that was so weird. I was like, don't the phone normally go black? And I just ignored it. Fast forward, we get to where we going. We see the dude that we supposed to be getting something from standing outside of these project apartments. I'm in the front seat, Carrie in the driver's seat. Dude get in a car in the back seat. So the other dude in the back seat behind Carrie, and the other dude get in the car. This man pulls out a gun, puts it to Carrie's head, and like basically like, "Give me all your money." So Carrie goes down to reach for his gun. He told Carrie like, "Don't do that. Like, I'm gonna kill both y'all." And y'all, like, I literally had said like my last prayer. Like, I just was in my head like, "Dang, my mama about to find me dead like this. My mama gonna know I was dealing with this nigga. He's selling drugs." Like, I just kept thinking about everything in my head. And I really thought I was gonna die. Like, I really thought like, dang, I'm trying to be so down, so ride or die for a nigga and then about to die. But he ended up taking the money or whatever. And getting out the car, and like I just burst out into tears. I told Carrie to get that nigga out this car. That nigga set this up, like all of this going on at one time. Carrie ended up dropping me off. He told me like, "Look, go back to school. You ain't gonna hear from me no more." Like he was ready to crash out before it was a crash out for real. And so yeah, that was like a time in my life where I thought my life was over. Like, I ain't had no business trying to be this D-girl, this down-ass bitch. I just like, dang, like I'm really here in my life right now. This is what this got me. But that was the one time. Yeah, I think that was, I'm gonna give y'all that one. I'm gonna leave it at that.
I'm sure that experience taught you some lessons.
Definitely.
You ain't got too many more.
No. Never riding in the car with a nigga again.
Okay, we're gonna fast forward a little bit more. You did talk a little bit about, in your reflection about closing your business. Mm-hmm. Can you expound on the feelings and how that made you feel when it comes to the thought of failure?
Oh my God. So when my business closed, I admittedly, I never thought failure in my head immediately after. It wasn't until I had to explain to people what happened or how it happened that I felt like, oh, this is how they're gonna view this as a failure. People are gonna view this as a failure. Because I always knew in my heart, like, it wasn't a failure for me. It was something that I had to go through, some lessons that I learned in it. Like, I was very successful in it at one point. Like, so I never looked at it as a failure. I looked at it as like, okay, I'm ready to close this chapter. Like, I'm ready to do something else. And anybody that know me, and like my husband, he say this all the time, like, what now? Like, what now? And I felt like it was like more of a what now thing. The failure part didn't come in until like I thought about what other people viewed it, because I knew other people didn't know the ins and the outs of the situation. And then too, I thought about like the reality of it was not that I failed, but that I didn't want to do it anymore. Like, and that was the part of it that I didn't want to tell people. Like, I didn't want people to say, oh, what now? Oh, like, or, or what's she doing now? Like, but I wanted, genuinely deep down inside, I was ready to do something else. And I feel like the way it happened, how it closed and all that stuff, I feel like it had to have happened the way it happened for it to happen. Because if not, I would have continued to worry about, like, if people would have looked at it as a failure on the outside that didn't know what was really happening. So, like I said, I never looked at it as a failure for me. But I did. I'll be lying if I say, like, I didn't think about, like, what people would say, like, oh, she couldn't do it. Oh, it was too much for her. She wasn't making no money. Like, I thought about that stuff. But then, too, like I said, my dad and my mom always told me, like, you a leader, like you gonna do stuff that other people haven't done before. And I looked at it like somebody like if 9 times out of 10, my peers, the people that I'm around, haven't done the things that I've done in business as it relates to business on that scale. I feel like that was very large of a scale for me. Did that play a role in why it didn't go as long as maybe other people felt like it should have went? Probably so. But I just felt like I wanted to do something else, and I wanted a way out, and I feel like God gave me a way out. I asked God for a way out, and I asked him for a way out that wouldn't hurt me and the people around me, and he did that. And, I just had to be okay with whatever people said and whatever people thought, because genuinely and deep down inside, I knew what the real was, so I wasn't pressed about it. But it has opened doors for me, like me being able to, I never seen myself like being able to say, okay, let me go out and just go somewhere else for 3 months. Let me go live somewhere else, because I always worry, like, my business, if I'm not in my business, it's not gonna flourish, it's not gonna work. So I feel like the closing of my business gave me opportunity to, like, really know what I wanted to do, like really chase after the things that I feel like really was in my heart that I was sacrificing for my business. But yeah, that was probably the only level of fear, I guess, that I had, what other people was thinking.
That's good. I love that. And then my last question kind of ties into that one. How do you think people see you, and how do you want to be seen?
Oh, that's pretty deep. How do I think people see me? To be honest, I think people see me. Dang, I don't want to be fake and say something fake, but I don't want to sound like I'm over myself, but I feel like people see me as like doing too much sometimes. It wasn't literally until like I really met T, like, that she expressed how she viewed me, and it was a view that I would be okay with people viewing me as a leader, or as somebody that was wise, or that somebody that was a risk taker and stuff like that. But I think because it's not the norm for now it is. I feel like now in society it's normal for like you be young and what they call young and turn with a business and having all this money and doing all this stuff. That's success, that people feel like it's success. I feel like that's cool, but I feel like when you're doing it and you're doing it around people that have been around you and then seeing you when you didn't have any of that, I feel like I'm viewed as like I'm doing too much, or you think you better than us because you got this. Like, I never felt like outside of my family, and when I say my family, I'm really talking about my daddy, my mama, my aunts, my grandmother. I never felt like people were like, damn, she really doing it. Like, she really doing something that she want to do. Like, she watching it grow, she working towards it. Like, she setting out the time to do all this stuff. Like, I feel like more than not, I feel like people was around me that was like trying to downplay me, like trying to make me feel. And because I'm such a humble person and like a shy person, like in real life, I kind of fed into that, because like I didn't want nobody to think that I was trying to be better than them or more than them, or I had more than them. Like, I think about too, I was just telling my husband, like, I'm not the designer type of person. Like, I like to dress and stuff, but I'm not like a designer, jewelry, all this stuff. But the money that I came by, when I had my business, I never stopped and did none of that stuff because I never wanted to look like I was doing too much. And that's weird, really. That's weird of me to do that because if you know in your heart of heart that you're not, then why would you worry about what people viewed you as? But that's really how I felt. Like I feel like I had to stay like not too large, don't go too large, don't do too much. Like drive your Impala, don't worry about getting no luxury car. Like I did all of that because like I felt like I wanted to let people know like I'm just like you. I'm still your friend. I'm still your whatever the case may be. I'm still like this same person. Whole time, like that was one of my biggest downfalls. I feel like I want people to know me as being successful. Like when I think about people that I look at as successful, I'm like, damn, she really doing it. Like if I'm that, then I want people to look at me as that. I want people, and I want to be okay with people looking at me as that. And whatever that looks like to them or, you know, the outside world, I want you to just view me as what I am. I'm a nice person. If you really know me, I'm a really loving person. Like I care about the people that I'm around. I don't like over like, and I think too, the reason why a lot of people thought certain things about me is because I don't overshare. And I'm not as vulnerable or transparent as people would like me to be about certain situations. And what I found out this year is that I can be vulnerable, but the things that people want me to be vulnerable, I don't experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want me to tell you some stuff, but I don't have it to tell. Like, I don't have what you want me to tell about myself to tell, if that makes sense. So I just feel like people view me, I don't know. People view me sometimes like I'm a bitch. Like, if I can really be honest, like, and I think where that come from is just me wanting the best for the people around me like I want the best for myself. Like, I'm just like you might see me as a bitch to you, I'm a bitch to myself. Like, I look at myself and be like, you could do more. You could be doing this. You could be doing that. You, like, and I think that's what God gave me, like, a break from when he shut my business down. Like, it's okay to not do nothing right now. Like, it's okay to not have nothing going right now. And I think he freed me from that. And so I kind of been more vulnerable and more softer in my soft girl era, I guess, with my relationships and my friends and people around me. And I feel like it's done like good for people to see me as that. Because I feel like for a long time, people just view me as this hardcore, like, when you come, my friends even told me one time, it's crazy. My friend even told me, like, I feel like when I don't have nothing going on, I don't want to be around you. And that really hurt me because I feel like, damn, why people always feel like I'm requiring something from them. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because, like, I have certain goals or I'm doing certain things in my life, like, and that really hit home for me because I'm like, damn, am I not lax enough in my friend groups? Or am I not lax enough in my relationships to make people feel like they can be their authentic self and not have nothing going on and still be around me and I still love them the same? So I think, you know, people just view me as this person that I probably was and then I wasn't at the same time. So, yeah. But y'all don't gotta view me this way no more. I'm cool, I'm calm, and I'm collected now. I'm healing. I'm thinking about my response before I say it now. I'm thinking about your emotions or your feelings before I say how I really feel. So I feel like that's how you should view me. Somebody that really cares, somebody that really, like, is going through a process of trying to be a better person. And nothing that I do is ever to hurt you or harm you. It's only to make you better. Like, I want to be known as a person that makes other people better.
That's good. That's beautiful. I love that. You got anything you want to leave the people with?
I'm gonna go ahead and log off because
Deep.
I did. But no, just look for more, like, growth. I feel like this next year is gonna be like how you're in training, like if you play a sport or something, or like you box or something, and you have to train for a fight, I feel like I've been in training all 2024. And so 2025, I'll be able to showcase the things I learned and the things that I heal from.